Leading in Ministry is a video podcast designed to share anecdotal information that helps equip leaders in practical ways. Personal stories help drive the points home while making it both entertaining and informative.
Well, it's Friday, and Friday is our day for the video podcast, and I've been really enjoying doing these every Friday. And today I have a really great guy that is with us. Rex Bullock has been a longtime friend, and Rex, we met for the first time back in 1980, I believe it was. Cheryl and I were doing the worship music at a camp meeting around Binghamton, New York. You were doing the speaking, so that's been a long time ago. I think we're getting old. I think that's what that means. My word! But nevertheless, it's really great to have you.
Hey, it's wonderful to be here. And yes, you and I have been longtime friends. We've done ministry together for many years. That was the first time back in 1980, but wow, we've been together an awful lot and colleagues in ministry across these years.
Oh, my word. You know what, Rex? I just thought of something, and I got to share it. It's a story when we have done a lot of traveling together, yes, all across the United States. I will forever have this image. It's just pressed into my mind. I thought it might have been Interstate 10, but I think it was a different interstate than that. We were going maybe from like the Houston area up to Dallas, or maybe from Dallas somewhere up into Oklahoma. And you had purchased this vehicle. I think you got it at an auction somewhere.
Yep.
And did the engine blow up on that almost immediately after you got out onto the interstate?
It did.
And, yeah. Oh, my word. That was quite the day that day.
Yeah, I'm so glad you were behind me, because the engine blew up and you came to the rescue.
Well, I couldn't resist remembering that story with you, because that was one of the great memories that I've had that time when we were in Texas together.
Yep.
Anyway, Rex, you are the radio voice for Day Media, and they not only broadcast by radio, but also do a lot with social media. And I know for you, one of the really important themes that you like to talk about is raising up leaders. But it's more than just raising up leaders. It's the kind of leader, I think, that is attractive to me today. So tell me a little bit about that.
Well, you and I come from the great Methodistic tradition, John Wesley. And, I am a strong, firm believer in the doctrinal ideals of the pure heart, the holy heart, and grace, faith, holiness. And I have believed for some time that we need to see that message expanded and really exploited around the world. So a part of my ministry for the last many years has been endeavoring to raise up leaders who will exemplify that in their own life. And not just teaching, preaching it, but truly living the Christ life. And it's become a passion with me. Until the pandemic, have traveled around the world doing that in many groups and denominations and churches.
What are some of the key elements doctrinally that you would exploit in that kind of leadership that you're talking about?
Well, we not only believe that one can be and must be forgiven by Jesus Christ, but we also believe that there is a life of spirit infilling in which the Holy Spirit comes into our hearts to really give us an infusion of His grace and power and purity of heart. And I am a thorough proponent of that. I want to live that kind of life, and I want others to know about it and receive it and truly live it.
So, you know, it's one thing for us to understand what that means, but I think that we have a world that's very hungry for something that really is truly a very authentic kind of experience that they can see and that they would desire. So I guess for me, I'm asking. Uh, I'm sure that for you, you want to be able to have the leaders that you are trying to teach and to raise up, that they would reflect that very thing in their own lives as they live it out on a daily basis. Wouldn't that be true?
Oh, yes, yes. And that to me means that they live a life, first of all, of grace, having the
Mhm.
grace of God in their own lives, and then being able to show grace and mercy and love to people all around them. And in a day of deep polarization, of divisions on every hand, and
Mhm.
all kinds of mixed messaging out there, I think it's highly important that we be the kind of people that show Christ's love exuding from us, that divine love that reaches to people who don't look like us, who don't think like us, who are totally different, and yet I love them into the kingdom of God. That's one of the great messages that I firmly believe.
Um, so Rex, I mean, these are very different kind of days. Like you said earlier, you're not traveling much. Just because it's something that you can't do a lot of right now. Um, but so, what are some of the ways that you are attempting to still influence this whole aspect of raising up leaders? What are some of the maybe you have more creative ways that you're thinking about these days?
Well, I'm very thankful for the media and the technology that we have today, which allows us many more options than what we have had in the past. I remember 42 years ago when we started in radio, we basically had the old reel to reel tapes, and we had a microphone, and we made those tapes, and we went on what today we would call terrestrial radio, a radio station locally or that broadcast to several states maybe. And so that was kind of the one way. Television then, of course, came along. But now with the advent of the internet, social media, we have many more ways. So we use podcasting like you're doing today. We're
Mhm.
using blogs. Um, and of course, there are all the various platforms, all the way from Facebook to Instagram to Twitter to on and on. And so, one of the things that we're trying to do is to use every possible platform to get the message out. And, I have people say to me, I don't like this particular platform. I don't like this. It's so corrupting and all of this. Well, yes, I get it. But I think we need to sanctify the media and use it for good to get the message out, to get our training and our teaching out. So that's what we're really doing today.
Yeah, and Rex, I know that over the years you've had a lot of influence on a lot of people, and the impact of what you have done to help raise up leaders. It's pretty incredible. Tell me, what are some of the things, whether it's books or people, that have influenced you during your lifetime?
Well, both of those books and people have influenced me greatly. I'm a reader. I love to read. Um, have a large library that I've accumulated across the years. I still enjoy it. But I would have to tell you that it's been individuals, it's been people who have put their stamp on my life in indelible ways. I I can think of people who have been mentors to me, people whose either their teaching or just their friendship, the fact that they loved me, cared for me, brought me into their circle, and influenced me deeply. And you and I have mutual friends who I would say have had huge influence on me along that line. And truly, I'd like to pass that on. I'd like to pay that forward. I'd like to be the kind of individual that brings others in, that loves them, that cares for them, and makes deposits in their lives.
Well, the one thing that I personally have experienced firsthand over the many years that been connected, there have been opportunities, and I think it so fittingly ties into the theme for today, raising up leaders, but not only raising them up, but within the Wesleyan tradition and with the doctrinal values that you have talked about today. And when I think about that in that context, you have absolutely modeled that, because like any leader, there have been times when you've been put to the test, you've been under fire. And I have watched you respond, because I think it's how we react sometime really is the key to giving us a revelation to what this person is really made up of. And I've watched you, and you have modeled that in a very Christ-like way. So,
Well, you're very kind, Don. I'm human like anybody else. I'm subject to foibles and frailties and all kinds of things, and I live that out. But I guess if I want to be what I think we say we believe, then I need to be the kind of person that responds and reacts in a Christ-like manner.
right.
Instead of getting all defensive, instead of railing against people, or getting into some sort of shouting matches and one-upsmanship, I'd like to approach how I deal with people with a humble, loving way. And I guess love, I know it can be misconstrued, but I still love the word, because I want to love others. I truly want to love them. And the older I get, the more I'm finding that there are people so vastly different than me. I look at a whole new generation coming on today. Wow, their ideals, their philosophies, just the whole way they choose to live their life is so different from me. But if I have any hope of influencing them, if I have any hope of seeing good things come into their lives, then I need to love them. And truly, that means breaking down barriers. That means not getting on my high horse and being condescending toward them because they are different. But it means trying to get into their heads and into their hearts
Wow.
and bring the love of Jesus.
Wow. You know, of everything that we've talked about today, I think that right there, that very principle, if people that are watching this would really latch onto that, that is probably one of the most valuable things for all of us to if we haven't already learned it, to begin practicing and learning how to do that better. It is certainly a key component, I think. If we're going to really be true leaders and model Christ, that's going to be an important factor, isn't it?
Well, absolutely. And you know, the older I get, I see my own faults and frailties, and I have been asking God, particularly lately, Lord, help me to be the kind of individual that can point others to you. I remember reading in the autobiography of Mahatma Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi came into contact with a group of Christians when he was a young lawyer in South Africa before he went back to India to start the nonviolent movement. But he came in contact with these Christians and he loved the ideals of Christ. He was intrigued by them. He was curious about Christianity. And somebody said, well, if you're so curious about this, why don't you just become a Christian? And he said, well, when I see Christians who live that life, I will do that.
Wow.
And I thought to myself, wow, if Gandhi were to see me, what would he see? Would he be drawn to Jesus Christ, or would he be repulsed? And I've just written a blog. It's just come out within the last day or two, and it's called "Am I Jesus in Jeans?" In other words, out on the street, out in the highways and byways, and in the store and the supermarkets, or just wherever, am I really exemplifying that kind of life to where people are drawn instead of repulsed?
Yeah. Well, Rex, thanks so much for taking the time today to talk with me about raising up leaders and the principles that you have brought to our attention. It's been very challenging, and I guess no, I'm going to take that back. I don't think we're ever going to see normal the way normal has been. I think that we're probably in a new normal, and we just need to make those adjustments and learn how to live with that. So,
well, you know, that's one of the things that I really think we need to be aware of and try to develop, and that is life is made up of constant changes. The one true thing that's going to happen to you and me is that change is going to come. So we're living in this time where everything has been shattered. Our whole lives have been upended. So will we go back to the old normal? No, you've said it right. We're probably not. But how can I find opportunity to be a spokesman for Jesus Christ in the new normal ahead? That's what I want to find.
Yeah. Wow. That's great stuff. Well, Rex, thanks so much. The best to you out there in the far northwest, where I guess it rains most of the time, right?
Well, actually, we're in a dry spell at the moment. We've even hit some 90-degree and 90 plus temperatures. So it's hot right now, but 2/3 of the year, yes, it rains.
Well, listen, it was really nice to get to talk with you today, and thanks so much for taking the time.
Hey, it's great to be with you, Don. Sure do appreciate all you're doing. You're a great man. I love you.
Well, thank you, and have a good rest of the day.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Please take a moment right now to hit share and include a comment.